Loyola Greyhounds. Loyola coming into this match as the new #1 in the country. The Raiders ranked 17th in the Warrior poll, 19th in the other one, so a very, very big game here at Andy Kerr Stadium between the two teams on currently towards the top of the Patriot League. Loyola coming into this match having won 8 straight, 4-0 in the Patriot League, 8-1 overall. Colgate 7-2, 3-1 in the Patriot League. My name is Anthony Tamburo. Great to have you with us here on the Patriot League Network, powered by Campus Insiders. We'll get you the starting lineups here. First for the visiting Greyhounds of Loyola. Again, 8-1 overall, 4-0 in the Patriot League. The #1 team in the land. We'll go numerically. Number 6 is Brian Sherlock. 10 is Matt Sawyer. 15, Justin Ward. 17 is Joe Fletcher. 18, the leading scorer in the Patriot League, Nico Pontrello. 21 is Tyler Albrecht. 24 is Jack Runkle. 30 is Pat Frazier. 36, Derek Zook. And 46 is Brian Schultz. Runkle in goal for the Greyhounds, the senior from Fairfield, Connecticut. We'll get to some of his stats in just a few seconds. For the home team, the Colgate Raiders, 7-2, 3-1 in the Patriot League, number 17 in the Warrior Lacrosse poll. We'll go numerically. Number 1 is the freshman Cameron Williams at midfield today. Number 5 is Brandon Burke in the goal. We'll talk about his statistics again in just a few seconds. Kevin Adams at attack wearing the number 7. Junior midfielder number 10 is Matt Clarkson. Number 11 is Eric Foote, the sophomore midfielder. The sophomore defenseman number 13, Leo Storos. Number 23 is John Baker, another sophomore at defense for the Raiders. Number 27, a senior attack from Warrenton, Virginia, is Brendan McCann. The captain, or one of the captains at least, Bobby Lawrence. Number 37, the senior from Summit, New Jersey, and at attack, the junior from Wantagh, New York, Ryan Walsh, wearing the number 43. Walsh leads the team, 19 goals and 11 assists, give him 30 points on the year. The goal streak no longer intact for Ryan Walsh, but he's got a point streak of 42 games, which ranks for 4th in the country. Jordan Wolf of Duke at number 1 with 50 points in 50 games at least down in North Carolina. So we're getting the starting lineups here. Our officials today on a chilly day in Hamilton, but not as cold as it has been. Overcast and a bit of rain possibly in the forecast. Our officials again, Matthew Palum, James O'Hara, and Scott McCall. The head coach of the Loyola Greyhounds in his 9th season is Charlie Toomey. Spent all 9 of those seasons at Loyola, and he is assisted by Matt Dwan, David Metzbauer, and Steve Vickness. For the Raiders in his 3rd season, Mike Murphy leads the squad today, assisted by Michael Abbott, Stephen Toomey, and Matt Abbott. Today, if you were wondering, is a special day for Colgate Lacrosse and for the Hamilton community, as the Crown family, Steve and Nancy and their son Michael, class of 2010 and 4-year starter for the Raiders, we're having the field named after them today here at Andy Kerr Stadium. So the field is going to be called Crown Field at Andy Kerr Stadium. Vicky Chung, the director of athletics here at Colgate, saying that the Crown's support has been transformational, and by naming the field in their honor, we are recognizing and expressing our thanks for their remarkable level of devotion. We're going to take a second here for the national anthem and then get you to the action here on this Patriot League Network contest, brought to you live from Andy Kerr Stadium in Hamilton, New York.
For the ramparts we watch.
All right, so about to get started here at Andy Kerr Stadium. Glad you can join us on the Patriot League Network, powered by Campus Insiders. My name is Anthony Tamburo, and we are really looking forward to this one. Loyola, the #1 team in the country. Colgate, 19th in the USILA poll, 17th in the Warrior poll. 7-2 overall are the Raiders. Had a mixed bag last week, a defeat here at home against a very high-powered Cornell team, and then a trip down to Annapolis, which ended up in a victory over the Mids. That by a score of 10-7. They lost to Cornell 15-10 here. Last time out for the Greyhounds was a big win over Lafayette, as the gentlemen in green rolled the Leopards 21-4. Haven't lost since the opening day of the season. An overtime defeat at Virginia, that by a score of 14-13. Colgate in the home whites, right to left in this first quarter. Loyola the away greens, and they will control the opening face-off. Colgate has been very good on the face-off so far this year. Alex Keneally having a very good year. Colgate in the top 15 nationally in terms of face-off efficiency, so that is certainly something to look for. Loyola, not an entirely overpowering team at the face-off dot, but that's just about where the deficiencies end for the Greyhounds, as the squad from Maryland comes into today's match with the 4th best scoring offense in the country, averaging around 14 goals a game. In contrast, Colgate, the 4th best scoring defense in the country, giving up just about 7 per game. So offense versus defense here, the classic matchup. We'll see how it ends up at the end of play here today. So Loyola with the first possession here, trying to dodge towards the cage, and we're going to have a flag down there, as that was Sherlock trying to cut and find himself some space to shoot left-handed. Doesn't work out, but Colgate is going to take their first penalty of the day. That was Kevin Boyle. So the senior defenseman from Atlantic Highlands, New Jersey, takes a seat, and Loyola has a chance here with a minute gone by in this first quarter to take a early lead. So Boyle's going to get a minute for tripping here, and let's see how this Colgate man-down defense can cope with a very high-powered Greyhounds attack. Greyhounds being patient here, slinging the ball around, trying to get some rotations in, and that's a missed pass. It's going to run all the way back into the Loyola defensive end. Eventually picked up by Fletcher. So after having to retreat nearly all the way, the Greyhounds reset. Still some time to go on this face-off. Ball's down on the turf. It'll be picked up by Loyola. And it looks like Colgate might escape this minute-long penalty to Kevin Boyle. Still some time left as the point of attack is switched. Should be releasing fairly soon, and Colgate is back to full strength. Big shot there, saved by Burke. The submarine delivery there, but Burke got down. The big rebound is picked up by the Greyhounds, and Colgate kills the first penalty of the game. So again, a very high-powered Loyola offense here. They've gone on some big runs in games during the season, at least 4 games this year, where they have rattled off at least 9-0 runs. So Colgate going to be have to be careful to avoid that. Another shot. Burke got down to make the save. I think he's on top of it. And so Brandon Burke, the freshman in goal for the Raiders, coming up huge on the opening possession for the Greyhounds. Still 0-0 here. And so after about 3 minutes of play, Colgate gets its first bite of the apple. And thanks to Brandon Burke, they do so still tied at 0. So Colgate having a little bit of trouble with the clear here. They managed to get it across midfield. And the first chance on offense for the Raiders. Obviously, they're going to look for Ryan Walsh, team's leading scorer. He's on the Tewarton Award watch list, as are 2 of these Greyhounds. And we'll see what the Raiders can do on the offensive side of things here. Williams on the ball now, the freshman getting the start today at midfield. So Colgate having a little bit of trouble getting it into the box. This is Walsh all the way up, playing a midfield spot almost. Tries to find him some space for a dodge. Gets free. Big shot is low and saved. And Loyola comes up with the rebound. So Jack Runkle getting his first save today. And Loyola comes right back to it on the offensive side of things, with just about 4.5 gone by in this first quarter. Another shot is well over the cage, but Loyola will back it up. So both teams getting a bit of a sub package in here. Parker Weinstock on defensively for the Raiders. He's on the ball here against Jeff Chase. Chase gets a step on him. Colgate has to slide. Another shot easy for Burke. Saw it all the way. And Colgate will look to clear once more. Burke gets it forward for Clarkson, gets it into the box, and dodges back out to give to Eric Foote. Colgate getting some of their offensive players back out onto the field here. 0-0. 9:40 remaining on the clock in quarter number 1 here at Andy Kerr Stadium. Chance there for Clarkson. Gets through a couple players. Shot is wide. Colgate will back it up. This is McCann. McCann's got Frazier all over him. Gets himself some space and then backs it out for a Foote. Williams now tries to run off the pick from Foote. Doesn't have much space to do it, and instead dishes down to Ryan Walsh. Walsh with a long stick on him, as one would expect. Not being double teamed, the double comes now. And Walsh unable to find anyone in a dangerous position. Colgate will back it out and reset. This is Foote driving for the cage, tried the layup, and Loyola comes away with it. A big save there from Runkle. So both goaltenders standing strong here in the early goings. Spin dodge there, and a great interception through the dangerous areas as Boyle got the stick out there. Crowd loves that. Fan favorite here is Kevin Boyle. And Colgate with possession once more. This is Clarkson. Clarkson loses the ball, though, and Loyola is going to pick it up. That was Justin Ward causing the turnover and getting the ground ball, so a failed clear for the Raiders. They've been fairly good so far this season on the clears. Good awareness there from Ward. He saw that Burke had popped out to cut off a pass. And Colgate will take a timeout to talk things over with 7:50 remaining in the first quarter. So again, Loyola, the number 1 team in the country. First time the Patriot League has had a number 1 since the late 80s, when Holy Cross finished the Division I AA football season ranked number 1 in 1987. Loyola spent time in each of the last 3 seasons as the number 1 team in the country, of course winning the national championship in 2012. So let's talk about Jack Runkle, as I said. In goal today for the Greyhounds, 6'3", 225 from Fairfield, Connecticut, the senior. Came up really big in the NCAA tournament 2 years ago. Career high of 22 saves against Duke in that tournament. He was on the NCAA Championships all-tournament team. In 2014, so far 9 games played, 58 goals given up, so just about 7 goals a game. Give him 90 saves, about 60%. His opposite number, a freshman that has played very well so far this year, is Brandon Burke. Give him 83 saves on the year, just about 57%. And he's had a couple big ones so far today. Burke giving up just over 7 goals a game. So Loyola back on the ball now. Still 0-0, but we've had some end-to-end stuff here in Hamilton, as the Raiders going toe-to-toe with the number 1 team in the land so far. Some real physical play there. Burke with another save. And Loyola will back up the rebound. That was Lawrence playing defense there for the Raiders. Lawrence, who's gotten some preseason publicity as a defensive player of note for this Raiders team, one of the leaders out there. And the two looking like a couple of basketball players out there trying to body each other up and get some space. Another shot with some wicked velocity there from Ward. It is well wide, but again, Loyola will back up the shot. So that matchup of Pontrello versus Lawrence is going to be a really, really big one here today, as Colgate grabs the turnover there. So the defense for the Raiders so far holding strong. They're going to give that turnover cause there to Jimmy Ryan. Jimmy Ryan, one of the leaders on this team. His effectiveness has been hampered this season significantly thanks to a collarbone injury, which he separated last season and re-aggravated in the first game of the season here against Bryant. Not in the starting lineup, but getting himself some time out there on the field right now and playing defense on the ball. So most of the possession so far for the Greyhounds, but nothing to show for it. Still 0-0 with 6 minutes remaining in the first quarter. Chase on the ball. Gives it to Dennis. This is Millstone on defense here for the Raiders. So head coach Mike Murphy, so far this season, showing he's not afraid to go to his bench. And this Raiders team fairly deep. Off the outside of the cage there. A couple of the Loyola fans thought that was in. That one is, though. Loyola strikes first. Busted play. And Nico Pontrello grabs the goal. And I think they're going to wave it off. Check that. So the goal is going to count, and they're going to call a loose ball push, which is going to be wiped out. So give the goal to Pontrello. That's his 35th of the season. Give him 40 points. And Loyola takes the lead here. So to the face-off dot, it's going to be Alex Keneally for the Raiders. He's taking on Graham Savio. So Keneally's been very successful. Colgate ranking very high nationally at the face-off dot. And Colgate wins that one by way of a procedural foul on Savio. So a chance for the Raiders to answer back here with 5 minutes just about remaining in the quarter. Glad you can join us for this Patriot League contest here on the Patriot League Network, powered by Campus Insiders. So interesting here, Walsh out of position somewhat, trying to get the isolation perhaps. He's got a long stick all over him, slashing him right in the face a couple times there, but no call. Joe Fletcher defending there. the senior from Syracuse, so somewhat local kid, making the return. First meeting all time between these two schools, Loyola in their first Patriot League campaign. The preseason favorite to come away with the title here. So a couple flags down. Colgate with the chance here, and they score. Cameron Williams rips it in from about 10 yards. The flags are going to get wiped out. 1-1 here. Give the goal to the freshman, Cameron Williams. So give the assist to McCann there. Williams from McCann. 1-1, 4:30 left in the first quarter. And just what you want if you're the Raiders to answer right back. Would have gone on the man-up advantage. Flags are wiped out, and so we'll have another face-off here. Keneally and Savio. Again, Loyola 7th in the Patriot League, winning just a shade over 50% of their face-offs. Colgate more towards 60%. And Keneally comes away with that one, sends it all the way back to Burke. So Colgate with a chance here, if they can successfully clear this, to take their first lead of the match. So give a ground ball pick up there to Keneally, as well as the face-off win. Burke on the ball now. Loyola not riding as aggressively as some other teams that we've seen so far this year. Most notably that Bucknell team. Burke had a shot on goal in that matchup that almost found the net, an empty net, as again Bucknell was riding very aggressively. Ball's on the turf here. Tyler Rigo is there. It's kicked free. It's going to be picked up by Colgate. The Raiders appear to be offsides there, and so Loyola has a chance to score on the fast break. They'll slow it down. This is Schultz on the ball. Or rather, was Schultz on the ball as he gives to Sherlock. Rigo defending on Sherlock as Loyola will wrap it around the back of the cage. Ball's on the turf again, but Schultz is able to pick it up. Albrecht here. Albrecht, the Canadian. And Loyola continuing to sub a few times here. And there's an open man, bit of a miscommunication defensively for the Raiders, but they're able to sort it out eventually. Bullet dodge there for Colgate. Burke, another big save. Brandon Burke sprawling out there to his right to get the goal stick on that one. Freshman coming to play today against the #1 team in the land. I think the Raiders knew if they were going to get a result here today against this high-powered Loyola offense, scoring 14 goals a game, they were going to have to get a big contribution from their freshman netminder, and he's performed admirably so far today. 2 minutes remaining in the first quarter, 1-1, and I think this is a scoreline that favors Colgate. Not necessarily going to win a track meet with this Loyola team, but if they can keep it low scoring and more importantly, keep it close. Very big chance of scoring the upset here today. Still plenty of lacrosse to be played, obviously. Again, preventing that big run, I think, is one of the most important aspects. As Walsh tries a big shot, I think Loyola is going to get this one, and they do. So Walsh put that into the turf, the newly named Crown Field here at Andy Kerr Stadium. And good hustle there from the Loyola back line to keep that, or rather take that away from the Raiders. And with 1:25 left in the frame, the men from Maryland have another attempt to grab their second lead of the day. This is Justin Ward. So again, Loyola with much of the possession here, not too much to show for it. But 60 seconds left in the quarter to try and grab their second of the afternoon. showing a bit of patience here. This is Chase. Left-handed shot, easy for Burke, right into the goal stick there. Not the best shot selection, got to say there, from the sophomore from Monrovia, Maryland. And now Colgate, with 25 seconds left on the clock, has a chance to try and grab their first lead of the afternoon. 15 seconds now as Williams, the goal scorer, is on the ball. 10 seconds. This is Clarkson. Passes over the top of the cage, was able to find McCann, but no luck for McCann. Shot there from Williams is wide, and we head to the end of the first quarter, first intermission here, and we'll stay with it throughout the break. 1-1 is our score here in Hamilton. So goals from Pontrello and from Williams. Pontrello, his 35th of the season. That leads the Patriot League in terms of goals per game. So let's get you some stats here if we can. As we're looking through the online stat repository. 1-1 here, the only one that matters. Give 12 shots to Loyola, 8 to Colgate. Burke with 6 saves already. Give 3 saves to Runkle. Loyola 0 for 1 on the man-up opportunity. Big stat, 9 ground balls for the Greyhounds, only 3 for Colgate. Loyola had a huge advantage in ground balls in their big win against Lafayette last week, which was a 17-goal win, their largest margin of victory since 2007, 52-22 on the ground balls. So Pontrello coming up into this game, second in the country in goals per game, 3.78. He's got 1 so far today. Colgate 2 for 3 on the face-offs, as Keneally was able to win 1 clean and another via an infraction. 6 for 8 on the clears are the Raiders. So for a team like Colgate going up against a very, very high-powered Loyola team, obviously don't want to give them any second chances. Loyola 5 for 5 on their own clears. Take a look at some individual stats. Not much to speak of for either team. Give Laconii number 34, Laconii, 3 ground balls for Loyola, 2 for Ward. As we get underway here in the second quarter, Keneally's going to come away with that one, and the ground ball is picked up by Kevin Boyle. Keneally, Baker, and Boyle all with a ground ball apiece. Give Boyle another one after that effort off the face-off, and so Colgate 3 for 4 on the face-off. And looking to grab their first lead of the afternoon here with their first possession of the second quarter. Glad you can join us for this Patriot League Lacrosse Showdown. Number 1 and number 2 in the league, and number 1 in the country here in Hamilton, as Walsh tries to dodge towards the cage. Somehow avoided stepping into the crease, but the shot was a weak one. And now Loyola will look to clear here. Getting some pressure from the Colgate attack. But it looks like the Greyhounds will break the pressure through Fournier. And now the Greyhounds will look to possess and grab their second lead of the afternoon. Again, low-scoring game here in Hamilton. I think that benefits the hosts, again, as this high-powered Loyola offense. Not one you want to get into a track meet with. The double team came there, the slide a little bit late, but the pass was a bit too hot for Schultz to handle. And Colgate is able to cause a ground ball here, as it's going to be knocked to the ground and eventually picked up by the Raiders. That's Catchis. Now it's up in the air and grabbed down by Millstone. And we're going to get a push there on the Raiders, so Loyola gets it right back. Colgate has to be careful here not to get caught out, but the Greyhounds will slow it down. So we've seen some physical play out here. First ever meeting between these two teams, but already possibly the beginnings of a rivalry here in the Patriot League, as these two teams not afraid to get physical with each other, as we've seen, especially with Lawrence and Boyle guarding the likes of Pontrello. So again, Loyola showing some patience here. The Greyhounds in the away greens with the gray helmets. Burke saw that all the way, gives up a juicy rebound though, and Loyola makes him pay. I think Burke's going to want that rebound back. It was a good save initially, as Brian Sherlock, the redshirt freshman from Nisicog, New York. Apologies there from anyone from Nisicog. So the goal to Sherlock, his 10th of the season, unassisted, and Loyola takes the 2-1 lead. So let's see if Colgate can answer right back as they did in the first quarter. Keneally and Savio here. Another procedural foul on the Greyhounds. I believe that was Blake Burkhart, actually, the junior from Newport Beach, California. So the Greyhounds and head coach Charlie Toomey changing things up a little bit. Same result, though, as Colgate comes up with the face-off. And now let's see if the Raiders can equalize once more. Wilmetta on the ball there. And the pass is through the end line. Turnover there by the Raiders. Not what you want if you are Mike Murphy's squad. So Runkle on the ball now. Gets it back from Fletcher. So the Greyhounds taking their time here, but eventually able to break the press. But a slip there, and Colgate's going to get it back. So first failed clear of the afternoon. As the whistles are blowing here, we're going to get a timeout. So Colgate turns the ball over, gives it right back. Give the turnover there to Pat Frazier. And we're going to take a second to talk it over. So not as busy of a weekend as we had in recent weeks here in Hamilton in terms of Colgate sports. The Raiders men's team, the only ones in action so far today. Of course, the men's ice hockey team yesterday competed in the NCAA regionals. 5th time in school history they've made it to the tournament. And a heartbreaker in Cincinnati went the way of Ferris State as the Raiders dropped a 1-0 decision. But a very young team for head coach Don Vaughn, and expecting great things for them going forward. Only graduating 2 seniors, Eric Mahalik in goal and Mike McCann, no relation to the lacrosse team's Brendan McCann. So the future is bright here in Hamilton, especially with the construction of the new rink. Hopefully set to start within the next few, well, I say next few months. That could mean anything in construction lingo, I'm sure. But other than that, this is the only action here in Hamilton for any Raiders squad today. But we're glad to bring you the action from Andy Kerr Stadium and the newly named Crown Field here on the Patriot League Network, powered by Campus Insiders, of course. Storos on the ball, gives it back to Burke. 10:48 showing on the clock here at Andy Kerr. Ryan gets the ball off the alley-oop there from Burke. So Brandon Burke's been very impressive, the freshman coming in here and showing just what he can do, both as a shot stopper and as a passer coming out of the back there. 2-1 to the Greyhounds here, as the Raiders look to answer back. And they do. Buried it, the left-handed shot there from Matt Clarkson. 2-2 here in Hamilton. The bench going crazy down below us here. So Clarkson unassisted there, 7th of the season. 2-2. So the Raiders answer right back. So Clarkson gets the dodge there, left-handed, rips a shot. Runkle no chance. And just like that, we're knotted at 2. Keneally again here for the Raiders against Burkhart. And Keneally with the procedural violation there. So Loyola gets the face-off. Ball's on the turf, and it's going to be picked up by the Raiders. Dennis lost the sight of it, couldn't find it. And just like that, Colgate with a chance to grab their first lead of the afternoon. They're going to have to get a sub package in here first, as Foote is on the ball now. So goals from Williams and Clarkson, canceling out Sherlock and Pontrello. We're still tied at 2. 9:34 left in the second quarter. Clarkson again, triple teamed. Ball's into the turf. Walsh had a bit of trouble picking it up. And it's going to be scooped up there with the long pole by Joe Fletcher. Some missed opportunity for the Raiders here. So give the ground ball there earlier for the Raiders to Millstone. And a ground ball there for Joe Fletcher. So now a chance for the Greyhounds to restore the advantage. If you're just joining us, and as Doc Emmerich says, we start at 12, so do try to be on time next time. Loyola, the number 1 team in the country, 8-1, 8 straight wins, 4-0 in the Patriot League, as a shot with a bit of velocity there from Dennis is ripped well wide, but recovered on the sideline by the Greyhounds. Dodging for the cage and burying it there is Kevin Ryan. So off the missed shot, Ryan picks up the ball, beats his man, and beats Burke. 3-2. So Kevin Ryan, the senior from Mountain Lakes, New Jersey. No relation to Jimmy Ryan, as far as I know. His 16th of the season, unassisted, 3-2 to Loyola. Keneally wins the draw and gets the ball back to Burke. So Keneally, when the draw has been clean, Keneally's had some success. I believe that's 3 for 4 now on clean draws. Here's Foote. Foote didn't see the man coming from behind. And Loyola comes away with the ball. The traveling Greyhound support loving that here in Hamilton. Again, first ever matchup between these two schools, which is a bit odd considering that Colgate has been playing lacrosse since 1921. Playing varsity lacrosse, that is. If you were wondering, Colgate 440 wins, 480 losses, 7 draws. But since 91, when they've been in the Patriot League, 77 wins, 58 losses. So, a bit of an improvement in the latter part of the century. So Loyola on the ball now with the 1-goal advantage. And they're going to run a bit of an isolation play here for Ward. Finds a man up top, but the slide is a good one from Colgate. Colgate in a man-to-man defense. Bobby Lawrence doing well to get out there and cut off the shot attempt for Pontrello from about 20 yards. Maybe more like 15. Burke got that right in the shoulder pad. So from point-blank range, Brandon Burke makes another save. He's keeping these Raiders in this match so far. Give him 8 saves so far in the match, 6 of those coming in the first quarter. Kirchner now. Slows it up, and Colgate down 1. Going to take their time here, get their offensive squadron out onto the pitch. Plastic pitch here in Hamilton, as the weather might suggest is necessary. Of course, made possible by the Crown family, as they're being recognized again, as I said today, for their contributions to the Colgate Athletics Department. Both the turf and the lights here at Andy Kerr Stadium. Made possible by the family's generosity, as Walsh on the ball. Not to mention Michael Crown, the 4-year letter winner, and who was class of 2010, earned all Patriot League honors in his senior season. This is Baker, not seeing a lot of him. Good look through the middle, score! Tied at 3. Excellent look there from, check that, it was Brandon McCann. Excellent look from McCann to Rigo. So Rigo gets the goal. His first of the season. Give the assist to McCann. And if you're wondering why I was saying Baker, I guess I just didn't see the number very well, so my apologies there. Baker, of course, the defenseman, so it would have been a bit odd for him to be in that situation, but a great look from McCann, a great finish by Rigo, and this Colgate team refusing to let Loyola get a drop on them. It's 3-3. The Raiders answering back, and they're nearly going to pick that up there. That was Boyle, and Boyle eventually comes away with it. So the Raiders having success on the face-offs. Let's see if they can turn that success into a lead here. 3-3, 4:30 left in half number 1 here in Hamilton. Wind looks to be picking up a little bit, blowing across the field if the flags on the other side of the stands here are any indication, but I doubt it would be much of a hindrance to these players, especially considering earlier in the season that Bucknell game of note where it was incredibly windy and didn't really affect the play of these guys out there. I'd say, A, they're used to it, and B, well, they're used to it. So Walsh here on the ball. Draws the double. Can he find someone? Chooses to take it himself. Tries to go around the back, but Runkle saw it all the way. A bit of flair there from Walsh. Would have been great if it went in, but it didn't. And we're still tied at 3. Laconi tried to find himself some space. Now he's going to set the pick, but Colgate reads it well. That's Boyle. And with 3:20 on the clock, Loyola will back it out and try to reset, get some of their offensive players out onto the pitch. .3-3 here in a top 20 matchup and a vital Patriot League matchup here in Hamilton. The Raiders get a bite at the #1 team in the country. Last time the Raiders took on #1 was in that 2012 campaign. It was in the first round of the NCAA tournament. The Raiders knocked off Massachusetts in Massachusetts. And they're going to go down a goal here as a good look inside after the flag had been thrown is buried by Brian Schultz. So again, one mistake by the Raiders, losing track of Schultz. And the senior buries his 18th of the year. 4-3. So Colgate continues to claw back, but Loyola is not having any of it, as they get the goal to restore the one tally advantage here. So we're going to have a long stick on the face-off for the Greyhounds now. I think that's Klinkowitz, but it's still won by Keneally. So Alex Keneally doing his part, and that was Ryan Fournier for the Greyhounds taking the face off. But it's picked up by Keneally cleanly. And again, Colgate with a chance to restore parity if they can successfully clear here. No easy task against this Greyhounds team. But the attempt is successful as Clarkson is able to enter the box. So 2 minutes remaining in the half. As Colgate looks to, again, find the equalizer for the 4th time so far in what has been a hotly contested match. Walsh with a wild shot into the netting. We're going to get a timeout taken by Loyola here. So Ryan Walsh, again, points in 45 straight games. I think he might be trying a little bit too hard out there. He had the wraparound shot behind the back. That, again, would have been top 10 stuff had it gone in. But hads and ifs and hypotheticals matter little here. That shot, a wild one from low to high into the netting behind the cage here at Andy Kerr Stadium. 4-3 to the Greyhounds as the timeout taken by Charlie Toomey. 18 shots for the Greyhounds, give Colgate a lucky 13. 8 saves for Burke, 5 for Runkle. 14 ground balls for the Greyhounds, something that Mike Murphy's squad is definitely going to try and work on as we head into the second half and well, who knows about beyond at this point. Colgate 7 for 9 on the face-offs, but they haven't been able to convert that as a bunch of turnovers, 4 caused turnovers by Loyola. Colgate's turned it over 7 times in total. So let's see what Mike Murphy can dial up here with 97 seconds on the clock away to my left here at Andy Kerr Stadium. Again, 8 saves for Burke. Runkle's been just as good with 5 of his own. Goals from Williams, Clarkson, and Rigo for the Raiders. Sherlock, Pontrello, Ryan, and Schultz for Loyola. So let's see, if you're the Raiders, do you hold for one here, or do you just play it out and then trust your defense to stand tall should you score? And especially considering the success Keneally has had, I would say, why not go for it and see what you can make of it. So Walsh trying to dodge toward the cage. Not sure if that was a pass or a shot attempt, but in the end it ends up with Runkle. And so anything I just talked about is null as the Greyhounds look to add to their tally. Again, Walsh not happy out there. I think, again, trying a little bit too hard. As he's not had success in this first half. Still plenty of lacrosse to be played here. Let's see if Colgate can get to the locker room only down one, or if the Greyhounds can double their advantage here. 4-3, 24 seconds left on the clock. And this would be a killer if they were able to score. Double is drawn, but the ball is dropped, and with 15 seconds to go, Jimmy Ryan's going to pick this one up, avoids the slash. Loyola stayed on sides. Chance long stick goal, tie game! Kevin Boyle with the long stick, and look at them, the crowd here at Andy Kerr, they love it. As Boyle equalizes with 4.4 left on the clock. So the turnover, defense turns to offense. So give the goal to Kevin Boyle. His third on the season, an assist to Brendan McCann. And just like that, a chance for Loyola to take a 2-goal lead turns into a 4-4 game here in Hamilton. Mike Murphy is going to want to talk this over and see if he can draw something up off the face-off. As Keneally's been winning these so clean, not out of the question with 4.4 ticks that the Raiders might be able to come up with something. And if you're Charlie Toomey, perhaps the best course of option here is to just tell your face-off guy, fall on the ball, and see if we can run out these 4.4 ticks. So the Raiders refusing to go away here as they look to, barring something miraculous, head to halftime tied at 4 here in Hamilton. So it was an unforced error on the turnover. Justin Ward mishandling the ball. About 25, call it 20 yards out. The ground ball picked up by Jimmy Ryan. Ryan gets it ahead to McCann. And then McCann finds a cutting Kevin Boyle, who had continued his run out of the back. And Boyle from about 5 yards out with the long stick, just able to dink it in over Runkle. And just like that, 4-4. So let's see if the Raiders can conjure something here with 4.4 left in the frame. And it looks like it's not going to happen as the ball is going to be picked up. Well, not picked up by anyone. So we head to the locker room tied at 4. Williams, Clarkson, Rigo, and the big one from Boyle for the Raiders. Sherlock, Pontrello, Ryan, and Schultz for Loyola give 8 saves. And all of them big, from Brandon Burke, 5 to Jack Runkle. Colgate dominating on the face-offs as we head to intermission. We're going to take a break here for about 10 minutes and then get you back to the action here at Andy Kerr Stadium. You are watching this Patriot League contest on the Patriot League Network, powered by Campus Insiders. We'll see you on the other side.
Patriot League, today's scholar athlete, tomorrow's leaders.
Boston U women's lacrosse midfielder Jill Horka scored 4 goals and had an assist in 2 wins last week. That included the eventual game winner in a 9-8 upset over then number 14 Navy on Saturday. She finished with 3 points in that game and now has 9 on the season. For her efforts, the sophomore midfielder wins the Patriot League's Rock and Refuel Performance of the Week. And Jill joins me right now via Skype on the Patriot League Network. Hey Jill, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good, thanks. So it was a back-and-forth first half against Navy, and your teammate Mallory Collins scored with 1 second left to tie it at 5 heading into halftime. How big was that goal?
It was huge. It was a really great play. We were holding them for their last, I think they had a minute. There was a minute left on the clock when they had the ball, and we had played great defense, so we turned the ball over, had a quick transition, and as soon as Mallory got fouled, I knew she was going to score. I mean, she's probably the best shooter on our team, and it was really good. I think we needed that. We needed to go into halftime so that, like our coach said, as soon as we came out, it was just a 30-minute game. It was 0-0 to start the second half.
That goal started a 4-0 run that made it 8-5, and then you provided a much-needed insurance goal late in the second half. You found a nice opening for that goal. What did you see on that play?
We set up a little 2-man look so that we could just clear some space and work our challenges, and it definitely worked. It got open, and I just watched their defense shift, I guess, kept my feet moving, and my teammates made sure that they kept their defense occupied so that I had the lane.
Goalkeeper Carolyn Megan made a pair of saves on free position shots down the stretch. What were those final minutes like holding on against a Navy team that has several offensive threats?
Well, Megan is an amazing goalie. I love when we put people on the line. I mean, I know that doesn't sound good, but she loves free position. So, I mean, that was good. I think our defense never really showed any signs of weakness. We always have confidence. And then as soon as we went down there was 2 minutes and 12 seconds left on the clock, and they got a first yellow card. So I think that was big for us to be man up. And then they kept fouling. I mean, it's frustrating to be stalled against at the last 2 minutes. And I think we did a really good job of holding them and staying calm and confident and knowing that it was our game.
Your team played a tough non-conference schedule facing 4 nationally ranked teams. How did a rigorous schedule like that prepare you for your matchup against a ranked Navy team?
I think that it definitely prepared us. It showed us we saw a lot of different defensive and offensive looks, and we've been seeing a lot of patterns, and I think that have been playing high-ranked teams. It just helped us to play an aggressive Navy team as well.
You're almost midway through the league schedule, and you're undefeated at 3-0. What do you have to do to keep it going?
We need to definitely keep up our fight and just keep focusing on each game at a time and not look past anyone, and yeah, just work really hard and compete.
And how nice would it be to be able to host the Patriot League tournament?
That would be amazing. I think that's definitely our goal. That's what we want to do, and I think it's something that's attainable. We just have to work really hard for it.
Okay, Jill, well, thanks so much for joining me. Good luck the rest of the season.
Thank you.
In 1987, the Holy Cross football team, led by Gordy Lockbaum, finished the season ranked number 1 in the national polls.
Since then, no Patriot League team in any sport has risen to number 1
until now. Loyola Greyhounds won their 8th straight game on Saturday and moved up from number 2 to number 1 in the national polls.
Somebody told me that yesterday, and I was, what? I was pretty surprised. You think of, programs like Navy, a team, me being from Glen Burnie, Maryland, being pretty close to the Navy program and always going to the games. I was kind of shocked to hear that, we're the first team to ever be that number 1.
I think any team that's vying for a conference championship, hopes to be number 1. At the end of the day, we just happened to get it a few weeks earlier than we want it. Again, we're not excited about it right now. I think that, we are all looking towards that seed, hopefully in early May. And there's a lot of lacrosse to be played between now and then.
We got a lot of work to do. We're not going to rest on being number 1. We've been here before. Half the team, meaning seniors and juniors on this year's team, were there in 2012. So, we know how to handle this. Our coaching staff, they've all been in these situations I mean, Coach Metzbauer won about 6 national championships at Princeton, so he's been #1 before. So there's not a lot of resting going on around here. No one's getting too complacent, but it's nice to have the #1 next to your name. But we know there's a lot more work to do.
The great
For today's Patriot League contest between the #1 Loyola Greyhounds and the Colgate Raiders. Colgate ranked 17th in the Warrior poll, 19th in the USILA poll. Real quick, the women's team taking on the nationally ranked midshipmen of Navy down in Annapolis, and not looking too good at the start of the third. Navy 9, Colgate 0. So, well, not much to say about that. Colgate looking at their second Patriot League loss, should things continue the way they've been going down in Annapolis. As far as the game here, though, 4-4 is our score. Colgate equalizing with 4.4 seconds left in that second quarter. Kevin Boyle getting the goal. And it was a big one for the Raiders as they were able to head into the locker room. Knotted at 4. Alex Keneally's been very good on the face-offs so far today, and that has been a big part of Colgate's success. Take a look at some statistics for you as we're about to get started here. 18 shots for Loyola, 15 for Colgate. Loyola 0 for 1 on the man up. That's the only opportunity either team has had as they're fighting for it. It's been a very physical match down there, and still no one able to come away with that. That looked like a push, not going to be called. Referee's letting him play so far today. And the ball's out of play. Loyola will stay with it. 16 ground balls for the Greyhounds. They had a 30-plus ground ball advantage over Lafayette last week in what was a 17-goal win, so obviously Colgate doing slightly better than the Leopards did in defending this high-powered Greyhounds offense. Colgate 13 for 16 on the clears, 9 for 10 are the Greyhounds. Brandon Burke in goal for the Raiders. He's going to have to, well, nearly had to make a save there, but the pass is chosen instead of the shot there. Burke's got 8 saves, 6 of them in the first quarter. Give 5 to his opposite number, Jack Runkle. And Keneally is 7 for 11 on the face-off. So that shot was backed up immediately as it was caught by Brian Schultz. So Loyola again number 4 scoring offense in the country, just over 14 goals a game, against the number 4 scoring defense in the country. Colgate giving up just over 7 per game. Big ground ball pickup there by Boyle. Boyle is streaking down. It's a 4-on-3. He dishes to McCann. McCann with the shot. It's going to stay with Colgate. It was backed up by Walsh there. So a bit of an opportunity for the Raiders goes awry there as McCann's rip goes wide. So Boyle having himself a game with the big ground ball pickup there. Perhaps a shot might have been, well, I'm not a Division I lacrosse player, so what do I know? But as a former long stick defender myself, when you get that far up the field, you always want to put one on target, if possible. My one career shot in high school, of course, the highlight of my lacrosse career. Bit of a non sequitur there, if you'll forgive me, as Colgate looks to grab their first lead of the campaign. Of the match, I should say. The Raiders, of course, 7-2 on the campaign, so by necessity would have had a lead in several of those games. This is McCann. McCann's been quiet so far today. Had a big assist on the goal from Rigo. But other than that, not much to speak of. Walsh also hasn't had anything, but they don't need it as Cameron Williams grabs his second of the day. First lead of the match for the Raiders. 5-4, Cameron Williams, the freshman, unassisted, found himself some space and then placed it low. Giving him 4 on the season. Colgate's first lead of the match as the Raiders lead the number 1 team in the nation here in Hamilton in what has been a very tightly contested game. And if Keneally can keep winning faceoffs, Colgate is going to be in very good shape. But plenty of lacrosse to be played in what would be a marquee win for this program. Maybe a bit of a loss for the Patriot League, as presumably a loss would knock Loyola off that top perch. Again, Loyola, the first team since the '87 Holy Cross football team to be a Patriot League squad and hold the number 1 ranking in the country. But the Raiders not too concerned about that, I'm sure. Kirchner on it now. So as I was saying earlier, Ryan Walsh not had much going for him today, but he's shown this year that he can be a very streaky player and can grab goals in bunches really quickly as he tries to body up here. Gets to the cage but is forced behind it. Tries a pass, and I think a bit too cute there from Walsh. He's a player Colgate by no means needs to rely on completely, but certainly someone if they can get going, and I think that's a bit of a bonus for Mike Murphy's squad, that they are hanging in there with this Loyola team, and Walsh hasn't really gotten a bite at the apple so far today, and if he can get himself going, who knows what this Colgate team can do. I'm just noticing here, presumably the Colgate hockey team entering the stands here now, across the field to my right. That shot was, I believe that was heading wide, but Burke got a stick on it anyway. Loyola will back it up, so congratulations to the hockey team, who got a round of applause from the fans here as they return from Cincinnati. Again, dropping a 1-0 decision to Ferris State yesterday in the NCAA regional first round. Well, the NCAA tournament first round as well. So a marquee season for Don Vaughn's squad. And I'm just learning here, if you want to talk about number 1 teams, going down to number 17 teams, that Crystal Palace in the Premier League has just knocked off Chelsea. So take what you will from that, but anything can happen. That's why they play the game here. Plenty of time left for either of these teams to come away with this one. Good defense there from the Raiders. That was Lawrence. Low shot. got through Burke, and Burke immediately claiming that one, saying, I think, my bad, my bad. It wasn't with much velocity, but it snuck through the 5-hole. So give the goal to Jeff Chase, his first of the day, 6th of the season, unassisted, and we're tied once again at 5. So again, as I said, anything can happen. And especially with a team as good as Loyola and as capable on the offensive side of the ball as Loyola, this could still be a very high-scoring game, especially if they get on one of those runs. Again, the Greyhounds 4 games this year where they've capped off at least a 9-goal run without surrendering one themselves. Greyhounds actually 3-1 in those games. The lone loss against Virginia on the opening day of the season where they ran off 9 goals without conceding, but ended up losing 14-13 in overtime. They're going to have a chance to get another one here, and they do. And just like that, 5-4 Colgate becomes 6-5 Loyola. I believe that was Ward with confirmation in just a second. And credit there before to Graham Savio for winning the face-off. So give the goal to Ward, give the assist to Sawyer. That's Ward's 11th of the season, first of the day. Assist to Sawyer. Keneally wins the draw here and goes forward with it, brings it back for Jimmy Ryan, and Keneally that is, will head to the box. So Colgate has a chance to equalize once more with 8:30 to play in quarter number 3, live from Andy Kerr Stadium here in Hamilton, New York on the Patriot League Network. My name is Anthony Tamburo, by the way. Glad you can join us. Of course, the Patriot League Network is powered by Campus Insiders. So Rigo has a goal, dodges for the cage, gets pushed around it, finds McCann. McCann not able to do much with it, sends it up to Wilmetta. Wilmetta swings it and gets it back from Kirchner. So second line mids in here for the Raiders. Rigo, again, tried to push for the cage, couldn't find anything. Walsh has been inverted for much of this game. And he's up towards the top, trying to get some isolation for him. He's got Fletcher all over him and has had Fletcher all over him for most of this game. And let's see if Colgate can try and free him up here or if they'll go away from him. Well, Walsh on the ball now, turns, tries to line up a shot, chooses to pass instead. And that one had some velocity on it. Shot coming in there from Wilmetta, but Runkle saw it all the way. It was a good height for him. And Loyola is going to come right back, 7:10 on the clock. So the Greyhounds getting some encouragement from the coaching staff down here, telling them to keep at it. Big moment in the match here. If Loyola can get their 3rd straight, pick up some momentum, this game, the character of this game might change completely. Let's see if Colgate can get a stop. Good slide there. Let's see if Colgate will reset. They're able to. Isolation on the near side for Loyola. That's a big drive. Burke saw it all the way. The sidearm delivery. A good height for him. But Brandon Burke able to make the save there, and so it remains a 1-goal deficit for the Raiders. Lucky there as the ball is turned over by Jimmy Ryan, and now Colgate's going to have to get back. It's a 2-on-1, 2-on-0. Loyola makes it count, so the mistake through the midfield on the clear by the Raiders turns into a goal for Loyola. They're going to give the turnover there to Jimmy Ryan. So Ryan, again, one of the leaders on this team, hasn't been himself for much of this year due to the injury to the collarbone. Give the goal to Justin Ward, his 12th of the season, and assist to Nico Pontrello. So Ward's got 2 straight goals. So Pontrello with the assist to go with his tally in the first quarter. and the first cushion of more than one goal for either of these squads. Loyola comes up with the face-off. That was Fournier winning it with the long stick. And Colgate's got to be careful here. And we're going to get a timeout called by the referee so that the Loyola player can tie his shoe. Not sure about that ruling, but player safety, I suppose. The referees today, Matthew Palum, James O'Hara, and Scott McCull, if you were wondering. So the Greyhounds with a 2-goal lead and the ball here in the third quarter. Colgate, after taking a lead for the briefest of moments, as a wicked shot snaps by the cage, but it'll be backed up by the Greyhounds. Loyola, again, I've said high-powered offense about 17 times so far today, but that's really the best way to describe it. Again, the 4th-ranked scoring offense in the country. And there's a reason the Greyhounds are 8-1, have won 8 straight games, and are the #1 team in the land. They're going to maintain possession here as the shot runs well wide. This is Baker playing defense, causes the ground ball and scoops it up, so well done there by the sophomore from Darien, Connecticut, John Baker, to cause the turnover, just what the Raiders needed with under 5 to go in the third. Clarkson has a goal, gets it into the box. Colgate going to get some fresh legs out there, including Cameron Williams, who's looking for a hat trick. It was Eric Foote and Brendan McCann, each with a hat trick last week, as the Raiders knocked off Navy down in Annapolis by a score of 10-7. They've allowed 7 goals so far here today, just about their average on the season. Half of what Loyola happens to be scoring, though, so if you're Mike Murphy's team, well, if you're Mike Murphy, you've got to be somewhat pleased with the defensive effort through 3 quarters, just about. That shot was either off the post or off the foot of Runkle. Not sure he knew much about it. And Loyola is able to clear here with some success. Faking the big shot there was Pat Laconey. And the Greyhounds right back to it. Another sidearm left-handed delivery there from Schultz, but Burke saw it all the way. So Brandon Burke possibly at fault for goal number 6, but other than that has been very good. Give him 10 saves now. And we're going to get a violation here on the Raiders and a turnover. So Colgate kind of shooting themselves in the foot. 10th turnover by my count for the Raiders. And you don't want to give this Loyola team extra possessions, for sure, if you're Mike Murphy's squad. So another big possession here. Every possession being magnified in the late stages of this game, but Colgate certainly don't want to go down by 3 against this Loyola team. Loyola scored 3 straight goals. 3 goals unanswered, probably a better way to describe that. Is dodging for the cage is Sherlock. He dishes it off, a couple of rotations going in towards the cage, and burying it is Ward. Check that, I believe that was Pontrello. And the lead is 3 for the Greyhounds. So give that goal to Pontrello. He's got 35 on the year now. 36, actually. So Pontrello's got two and an assist. Loyola has 8. Colgate only has 5. And for the Raiders with 2:30 left in this quarter, we're going to get a push on the Greyhounds there, and Jimmy Ryan will pick it up. So very important possession here. Each possession, of course, I'm sure these players would tell you every possession equally as important. But after the face-off violation by Graham Savio, Colgate with a chance here to cut into that deficit. They've hung tough with the Greyhounds here. Took a lead at 5-4. But 4 straight goals from the Greyhounds has turned that into a 3-goal deficit here in Hamilton. It's the #1 team in the country starting to assert itself. Big possession for the Raiders to try and stop the momentum. And again with Keneally at the face-off X, Colgate's certainly capable of rallying off a run of their own. McCann draws the double, the triple now, but is forced back behind the cage. Got a little bit fancy with his pass to Ryan Walsh. But Walsh able to corral the ball. Some space here for Williams. Finds a teammate in Foote. But Foote missed his shot, and he knew it as soon as he let it go. Slamming that into the turf. Big chance there for Eric Foote, but unable to do anything with it. 1:15 on the clock in quarter number 3. Another shot, big drive over the top. Matt Clarkson, look at the form there from Clarkson. Rip and rope, as they say here in Hamilton. If you're watching, kids, torque, torque, and torque. As Williams ripped that one overhead. Finds the side netting. Colgate back within 2. So it was Clarkson there getting the goal. My mistake. Saw the 1, not the 1-0. The 1 of Cameron Williams, not the 1-0 of Clarkson. So Clarkson, 2nd of the day, 8th of the season. Still good form, if I do say so myself. Ball's up in the air. Nobody knows where it is. It's nearly picked up and eventually picked up by Loyola, but the ball's down on the ground, eventually going to be scooped up by Boyle. Good job by Walsh to cause the turnover there. So with 45 seconds left, Colgate wins the face-off after several players had a chance at it. But again, great work defensively by Ryan Walsh to cause the turnover. And as he is known to do, ball is picked up by Kevin Boyle. So now 25 seconds for Colgate to try and make something happen here and get to the end of the quarter, down 1. And did it cross the line? It did. Referees have their arms up. It's Tyler Rigo. 16.4 left on the clock. Colgate back within 1. Unassisted, Tyler Rigo found some space, buried a shot. Runkle got a piece of it. It bounced along the goal line. Wasn't sure if it crossed the line here, but the referees say yes, and I'm pretty sure there's no video review here. So it counts 8-7, 16.4 left in the third quarter. Colgate 2 goals in about a minute to cut that deficit back to 1. Can they conjure something here? Looking a bit unlikely. Well, they've got 5 seconds and the ball. 3, 2, big shot. And Runkle saw it all the way. That was Clarkson, got some velocity on it. But Runkle had it all the way. Colgate cuts into the lead. It was 8-5 about a minute ago. 8-7 as we head into the third intermission here. We'll stay with it through the 2-minute break as we head to quarter number 4. So Colgate, again, hanging tough here with the #1 team in the land. And for Mike Murphy's squad, the effort has been very, very good. Let's take a look at some stats. 24 shots for the Raiders, 28 for Loyola. Greyhounds 0 for 1 on the man-up opportunity. Colgate hasn't had a chance yet. Referees letting them play for the most part out there. A couple penalties for both sides waved off by goals. Loyola 23 ground balls to Colgate 16. Normally that's a stat that would suggest Loyola dominating the game. But Colgate winning 11 of 18 faceoffs has somewhat balanced it out. Really big stat though. Colgate 16 for 21 on the clears. Much of their 10 turnovers coming on those clearing opportunities. 5 of them unforced for the Raiders, and we'll see if they can cut that down. Brandon Burks got 10 saves, give 8 to Jack Runkle. So the freshman outdoing the senior so far today. But on the scoreboard, the only one that matters, it's Loyola 8, Colgate 7. It's 2 from Williams, 2 from Clarkson, 1 from Boyle, and 2 from Rigo. For the Raiders, for Loyola, 1 from Sherlock, 1 from Chase, 1 from Ward, 2 from Pontrello, 1 from Ryan, and 1 from Schultz. But Loyola is going to win the face-off clean here. Off the bar. So big chance, and they convert off the rebound, so right off the face-off. It's won by Savio. He takes it down, clangs it off the crossbar. The rebound is gathered by Loyola, and some slick passing is able to spring someone on the near stick. So 11 seconds into the quarter, the final frame here, Nico Pontrello gets the hat trick. So Pontrello, who's averaging about 3 3/4 of a goal a game, is nearing that average here as Loyola has now won 2 straight face-offs. And the lead is 2 once more. Still plenty of lacrosse to be played, of course. 9-7 here in the 4th quarter. Chance to make it 10, but Burke saw that all the way. As Ward tried to go over the top, Burke lost the ball. Well, was able to lose it in a fashion so that it could be picked up by his teammate, I guess would be the best way to describe that. As Boyle was able to scoop it up. Boyle's on the ball now. He's sprung across the line by Weinstock, who will head to the bench. And Boyle heads back to the defensive side of the field. So Colgate down 2. Walsh hasn't really gotten much going so far in this game. Let's see if Colgate can try and get him into the action. The 45-game point streak on the line here for Ryan Walsh so far today. Of course, I'm sure he would rather have the W than the points. Back to within 1 as Matt Clarkson grabs the hat trick. The bench loves it. The crowd loves it. The families of the coaching staffs in the box to my right loves it as Matt Clarkson, unassisted, tickles the twine, rips it over the right shoulder of Jack Runkle, and it's back to within 1. So it's 9 on the season from Clarkson, 3 of them coming today. Keneally wins the draw. He's going to go all the way back. Dangerous pass there, but he gets helped out by teammate in the back line. I believe that was Bobby Lawrence. Yes, it was Bobby Lawrence. And so Colgate with the ball and a chance to once again equalize. So Williams on it now. Williams and Foot working together. So Clarkson with the hat trick. Let's see if Foot can get in on the action. He had a hat trick last week. That was Kevin Adams, the sophomore, in a bit of trouble. Bit of an unorthodox shot to say the least, but Walsh was backing it up, so Colgate will hold on to it. Walsh somehow was able to get a shot off there. It was going well wide before it hit. I believe that was Derek Zook. It hit right in the face. Almost bounced in. Would have been a bit of a not top 10 situation there had it bounced into the net off of the Loyola player. But as it stands, still a 1-goal cushion for the Greyhounds. Colgate hanging tough with the #1 team in the country. In what would be a marquee win for this program. And the last win over a #1 was when the Raiders knocked off Massachusetts in the first round of the NCAA tournament in 2012. Raiders got an at-large bid that year after winning the Patriot League regular season title. And now Colgate going to try and lock down this Loyola offense. They've played well defensively today. And the number 4 scoring defense in the country. They're giving up 2 more than their average so far with plenty of lacrosse to be played. Loyola still possibly could get back to their average of 14 goals a game, but not if Brandon Burke keeps playing like that. Jimmy Ryan now on the ball with some speed. He's not really going to have much of an advantage in terms of manpower, so they'll slow it down. Chandler Millstone, the St. Louis native, on the ball now. So Ryan is going to head back to the bench. He's been hampered by that injury again. Not being used as much as I'm sure the captain would like. But when you're not 100%, you're not 100%. And that's just the way it goes, unfortunately. Sometimes this Colgate team, though, a lot deeper than they've been in previous years, especially during the Peter Baum era. As we've seen today, goals from a bunch of different sources. Almost a chance there for Clarkson to grab his 4th, as he got some torque on the shot, but it was right into the feet of Runkle, who was able to get the stick down. And Colgate hasn't been able to grab that lead or to grab that equalizer of late. Again, they fought back from down 1-0, 2-0, 3-0, and 4-0 to take a 5-4 lead. Fought back to get it to 8-7. Loyola put it to 9-7, and now Colgate down 9-8. Turnover caused there by the Raiders. And Colgate with a chance to equalize once again. End-to-end stuff here in Hamilton. Not a lot of whistles nor stoppages. Scoring's picked up since that first quarter when it ended 1-1. Give the ground ball there to Bobby Lawrence after the turnover by Pontrello. Rigo's got 2 today. Dodges to the cage, finds a double team, and backs it back out. Gives it to Walsh, rather, who will send it back to the top. Colgate not going behind the cage that much today. Haven't had much success. The close D of Loyola shutting down the combination of Walsh and McCann for the most part. Kevin Adams also out there as an attack as he gets swarmed there. Colgate looking for that pass inside through traffic, and they're not having much success with it as that Loyola defense is swarming whenever the ball enters anywhere near the crease of Jack Runkle's net. So 9-8, Loyola going to look to make it 10 here. They're going to give that turnover to Tyler Rigo. Joe Fletcher causing it for the Greyhounds with 8:35 showing on the clock here at Andy Kerr Stadium. Glad you can join us for this Patriot League contest on the Patriot League Network, powered by Campus Insiders. Loyola of Maryland, the Greyhounds, the number 1 team in the nation, with a 1-goal lead on the Raiders, ranked 17th in the Warrior poll, 19th in the USILA poll, after being 18 last week. That shot well done defensively there, diving in at the last second to deflect it wide was Boyle. It'll stay with the Greyhounds, though. Can't fault the effort for this Raiders team. Let's see if they can make it count and turn effort into a W. Pass deflected out of play, and it will be held by Loyola. Loyola, of course, national champions in 2012. Several of the players on the team, of course, still starters on this squad, including Jack Runkle, who was an all-tournament player during that run to the championship. First number 1 in the Patriot League since the '87 Holy Cross football team. Looking to avoid the upset here in Hamilton, although I'm sure if you talk to some of these Colgate players, as the Greyhounds look to maintain possession here in the box, I'm sure if you talk to some of these Raiders players, they wouldn't feel that it's that much of an upset. Very confident team out here. Chance for Loyola to Chance for Loyola to step on some of that confidence, perhaps. But after a couple nifty dodges by Ramar Dennis, ball's well over the top of the cage. The shot is well over the top of the cage, and Colgate's going to get the ball on the turnover here. So a couple minutes worth of possession turns into nothing of note for the Greyhounds. It's a 30-second clock violation for the turnover, and Colgate with a chance to once again equalize. So the refs have put on the 30-second clock a couple times so far in this game. We'll see how that factors into things as we get rolling late into this fourth quarter, 9-8. Of course, Colgate being down a goal, 30-second clock beneficial to them as long as they continue to be on the bottom part of the score sheet. But again, still a lot of lacrosse to be played. 6 minutes to be exact. Colgate down 1. Clarkson finds foot with the low shot, and Runkle got the stick down, but it's going to be maintained by Colgate. Well done there by Foot to smack it out of harm's way for Cameron Williams, and Colgate holds on to the ball. So Runkle doing his part for this Loyola team. Give the ground ball pickup to Williams there. Give 10 saves to Runkle, 12 for Burke for the Raiders. Walsh now. Another save by Runkle. That shot heading for the low post on the near side, but Runkle saw it all the way and was quick to his left to make the save. So 5 minutes left in regulation here. Wouldn't be surprising at all if we went to overtime. Loyola's only loss of the campaign, a 14-13 decision against Virginia in overtime. And now the Greyhounds will look to make something happen here, eat some time off the clock, and restore that 2-goal cushion. Big Patriot League match as well, of course. Loyola 4-0 in the Patriot League. Colgate 3-1, tied with Army for second place. The Raiders and the Black Knights yet to meet so far here in the Patriot League season. Newly expanded Patriot League with the addition of Loyola and Boston University. Huge rip from 15 yards out. 2-goal cushion restored for the Greyhounds. I believe that was Pontrello, and if it was, that's his 4th of the day. And I'm incorrect. It was Matt Sawyer. So Sawyer with the goal. His 12th of the season. Give the assist to Ward. And with 4 minutes remaining, Keneally's going to have to win this draw. And he does. So big win by Colgate as Keneally took his time. The shot is well over the cage. And they're going to say no shot, but Colgate took a timeout. So Mike Murphy wants to take his time to talk this over and possibly put in some defensive schemes to get the ball back. There's 3:57 left on the clock. So good win by Keneally. Took his time getting the ball out of the backside of the stick and nearly had it knocked out by Graham Savio. But as it stands, Colgate will maintain possession. They're down 2 with 4 minutes just about left on the clock here in Hamilton. So Matt Clarkson's got 3. Cameron Williams has 2. Tyler Rigo's got 2. And Kevin Boyle has 1. And my math tells me that that equals 8, so well done to me, if I do say so myself. For the Greyhounds, Pontrello's got 3. I have him as having 4. So we'll go with the official scoring, which I'm reading on the computer here. So Pontrello's got 3. Ward 2, Sherlock and Sawyer 1 apiece. McCann's got 3 assists, as does Justin Ward. Ward has taken 7 shots. Clarkson's taken 8. Ryan Walsh, 7 shots, 0 goals. And only 3 of those on target for the Tewarton Award watch lister. Keneally's got 8 ground balls. Gives 7 to Joe Fletcher, 5 to Savio. Jimmy Ryan with 3 for the Raiders. So 3:55 now on the clock here in Hamilton. Colgate down 2 against the number 1 team in the land with the ball. And a chance to climb back within 1. No 2-pointer here in college lacrosse, as you see in some of the professional leagues. So they're going to have to take 2 possessions at least. A little bit of patience here. And they're able to work things around. McCann now is forced out. Fakes a couple passes, eventually slings it back out. Time not on the Raiders' side here. Not necessarily panic mode just yet, but certainly can't afford to dilly-dally. Clarkson with a rip is wide, but it's backed up by McCann. Clarkson again now. Has Foot with him. So Foot took the shot and got drilled. Flags stay in pocket, and Colgate's taken a minute here without scoring. 3 minutes on the clock. Foot again. Clarkson, huge rip. Wide of the cage, backed up by Walsh. Colgate has their opportunity. Loyola sinking fairly deep. In a bit of a zone here now from the Greyhounds. Kind of a zone man type system, as the basketball player in me suggests. Or a man zone, whatever you want to say. And maybe not the best shot there from Clarkson. And so Colgate, with 2 minutes left, is going to have to get the ball back here. Otherwise, Loyola will escape Hamilton with, well, at least a 2-goal win. Under 2 minutes remaining. Referees have been decent with the... Ooh, I'm not sure about that one. I don't know about that one, to be honest, but it doesn't matter what I think, as they're going to call a trip on Lawrence. So Colgate had possession, had 4 shots on goal. Well, 4 shots, none on goal, rather. And now the penalty is going to be charged to Bobby Lawrence. So Colgate is going to be down a man, down 2, and with 1:45 left on the clock. And unless something somewhat miraculous happens here in Hamilton, it looks like the Raiders are going to drop their second contest of the Patriot League campaign. 3rd loss overall the Raiders are staring at right now. They hung with the Greyhounds, who have taken the time out here. But again, barring a significant change in fortunes here in Hamilton, looks like the number 1 team in the land will stay number 1 and escape Hamilton. And more importantly, move to 5-0 in the Patriot League. Still a chance for the Raiders. They're going to have to win the ball back somehow, obviously. Score, and then win the ball off the faceoff and score again, all while being down a man. So Lawrence is going to go a minute for the slash. So I guess I originally thought it was going to be a trip. And that's why I would say I'm not so sure about that. But the slash, I guess I can see the slash there. And Colgate's going to get the turnover. So Ryan comes away with it, and the Raiders stay alive. Here is Boyle. Boyle trying to spark something for the Raiders. And we're going to get a timeout taken by Mike Murphy. So exactly what Colgate needed there caused the turnover while man down. And they're going to look to set something up here to get one back. And then, of course, with Keneally on the face-offs, anything is possible for this Raiders team in terms of scoring quickly. They did it at the end of the first half, scoring 2 quick ones towards the end of that second quarter. So Colgate 13 of 22 on the face-offs. Savio's had some success late in this game. Of course, the Raiders are going to have to score first, and they're going to have to do it while down a man. So let's see if Mike Murphy can draw something up here. Ryan Walsh, of course, I would normally say go to Walsh, but Walsh has been held completely in check today. And give credit to that Loyola defensive squad. Especially Fletcher's been on him a lot. As well as Derek Zook and Pat Frazier. 12 saves apiece for Burke and for Runkle. I have to say Burke has made some really good ones. Runkle has as well. His positioning has been very good by the senior, but the freshman has acquitted himself very well for the Raiders. So 1:21 on the clock, 10-8 Loyola. Colgate down a man as Lawrence is still in the box for the slash. So very big moment for Colgate. They have to score, get the ball back, and score again while down a man. Anything's possible, especially in this wonderful game we call lacrosse, as Clarkson is going to be doubled here. Loyola has that option to double team wherever the ball is. And a big moment here as Boyle is down onto the turf, but he's going to pick it up under a minute to go here. Colgate doesn't have time to dilly-dally or to turn the ball over. Walsh on it now. And let's see if Walsh, he's got a bit of space. Let's see if he can find something. Nearly does. Are they going to count that a shot? They will. So Adams on the backup now, 41 seconds. Loyola is going to take a timeout. So Charlie Toomey, wants to talk this over. And a bit of confusion there because I don't think everybody out there actually knew that a timeout had been taken. That was Joe Fletcher running the length of the field and putting a ball in the back of the Colgate net. Getting a sarcastic cheer from the crowd here. So Colgate still with the ball. And a chance here to pull off something, again, rather spectacular. Down 2 with 40 seconds to go. And see if they can knot things up here with the number 1 team in the land. Let's take a look around the league real quick. As Army up 5 on Bucknell late in that game, so Army looks like they're going to pick up the win there and move to 4-1 in the Patriot League. Navy 7, BU 3, that in the second. And Holy Cross and Lehigh set to face off just about 10 minutes down in Pennsylvania. So Colgate's got 40 seconds to make something happen here. This Loyola defense has been very, very good late in this game. Haven't allowed Colgate any really quality shots, and they're going to cause a turnover there, and that might do it. As the ball is knocked out by Laconey, and under 20 seconds here, Greyhounds just have to hold on to the ball and see out this win. Under 10 seconds, and with an empty net here, Burke all the way out. That's going to do it here in Hamilton. So Loyola survives. Good effort from the Raiders, but the #1 team in the country, just too much for Colgate to handle. As the Greyhounds win their 9th straight. Loyola improves to 9-1 on the season, 5-0 in the Patriot League. They maintain that stranglehold on first place. Colgate drops to 7-3, 3-2 in conference play. And presumably, if Army is able to complete their victory at West Point over Bucknell, as I'm seeing they have done, Colgate will fall to 3rd place in the Patriot League. So the Raiders get a good effort in net from Burke. Let's get you some stats here as the teams head back to their respective benches to shake hands. Always a good tradition here in college lacrosse. So give Burke 12 saves, give 12 saves to Jack Runkle, 35 shots apiece. Loyola with 6 more ground ball pickups, 29-23. The turnovers killed it for the Raiders, 12 turnovers, 13 for Loyola, but Colgate unable to capitalize. 13 of 22 are the Raiders on the face-offs, 9 of 22 for Loyola. 5 failed clearances for the Raiders, only the 1 for the Greyhounds. And the 7 caused turnovers by Loyola, a big factor in the match as well. Colgate got goals from Cameron Williams. He had a brace. Clarkson with the hat trick. Boyle, a goal, and 2 from Rigo. For Loyola, it was Sherlock, Sawyer, Chase, Ward, 3 from Pontrello, Ryan, and then Schultz. Colgate hung tough, equalized several times, especially in that first half, but the firepower of the Greyhounds just too much for the Raiders to cope with. Looking ahead on the schedule, Loyola, another part of a road trip next week at Navy, although considerably shorter trip, I would guess. For the Raiders, it's a trip to Lehigh next week. All Patriot League action from here on out until the tournament. So at Lehigh, and then 2 home games on the 12th and then 18th of April against Holy Cross, and then Army. All of that will, of course, be available on the Patriot League Network. For everyone here in Hamilton, I want to thank you for tuning into this Patriot League contest. My name is Anthony Tamburo. Again, your final score from Hamilton, Loyola 10, Colgate 8. We'll see you next time.